Trustee Little is absent. Trustee Nero?
Here.
Trustee Simonovich?
Here.
Attorney Zemanek?
Here.
Manager May?
Here.
And Assistant Manager Parker.
Here. Would everybody please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They're going to lead it next year. Those two right there, they're going to come up here and lead the pledge. Welcome, everyone. The first item is open forum. Is there anybody here that wants to address the board for anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing no one, I'll close open forum and move on to reports. I have the first report. It's really short. The spring fling was last weekend, Memorial Weekend, and great Saturday. Probably the best one day that the Lions Club has ever had. Friday was hit or miss. Sunday, again, the same thing, but Saturday was fabulous, and everybody enjoyed it. We had the whole entertainment area full, so it was a great day for the community and the Lions Club to raise money for their projects. Trustee Brady is absent, and under Community Development Committee, there'll be a special meeting tonight, it was, and we talked about the DIP program for the downtown business districts. We also talk about the zoning ordinance changing the B1 and the edge districts. There'll be additional information on that coming up, and there'll be public notices on any zoning changes. The June Planning and Zoning Commission, they'll have its next meeting on Wednesday, June 12th at 6 o'clock right here. The summer mural program, businesses who would like to participate in the window murals program can sign up on the Westmont Special Events website at westmontevents.com. Also absent tonight, Trustee Little. The next Administration and Finance Committee meeting is July 25th, 4:30, right here, Village Hall. And again, if you want to reintroduce our new Finance Director, Assistant Manager Parker, go ahead, now's a good time.
Sure. We're pleased to welcome our new finance director, Alan Altick, to the Westmont team. He's spent over 10 years in municipal financial management and also done some auditing work in lots of different municipalities. So he's here in the back. So welcome to Alan. It's his second day here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Cruising nights, of course, Trustee Little would be telling about this. Only 1 week away. Next Thursday night, they're planning for the biggest and best year ever. The info on cruising nights is at Westmont Special Events website. Another big event, the Taste of Westmont, is 6 weeks away. This year, everything starts on Thursday night, including music on the main stage, main beer tent, and food vendors. Again, more details are on the Westmont Special Events website. In the past, the Thursday night was only kids' night. Now they've expanded the fest to include 4 days, right on Cass Avenue. And that's all she had, and I'll turn to Village Clerk Simsky.
I just have a couple of announcements. Wednesday, June 19th, offices will be closed to the public here in the village. And the community garage sales, this year's event will be August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Details are posted on the village website.
Thank you. Trustee Barker, Environmental Improvement Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Short announcement. Environmental Improvement Committee will meet Monday night, June 3rd, here in Village Hall at 5:30 p.m. And then I just wanted to make the public aware that there's a tree planting incentive program, and that's new to the village, and those details are on the village website. That's all. Thank you.
Trustee Nero, Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items. Our next Public Works Committee meeting is going to be June 27th, 4:30, right here at Village Hall. And a few recaps. Those of you might have seen it, the U.S. Luge was here doing tryouts. They do it every year. I believe it's every year. It's been quite a few years of them being here, but it went really well. The Village of Westmont received some good press and a nice article in the Suburban Life. So we thank them again for choosing Westmont. It's a great spot for them to practice the luge. Westmont Cruising Nights Public Works Trucks Night. Mark your calendar. Westmont Cruising Nights Truck Night will be, again, highlighting the Westmont Public Works, will be July 18th. So we got that to look forward to in a couple months. And just a couple updates on our Naperville Road closure. As part of the alley reconstruction program, Naperville Road will be closed Friday, so that's tomorrow through Monday, between Park Street and Roslyn Road for a full-width concrete patch at an alley entrance. Local traffic will still have access to their homes and apartments, but Naperville Road will be completely impassable at the alley. A planned detour will allow all other traffic to get around the work area. Again, more information on that, as well as other construction updates on our websites. In the GIS map section of our website, you can find out some more information. And the last item, again, is just to reiterate the spring fling. Congratulations to the Lions. What an awesome event. I think I saw the mayor cutting probably 500 or 1,000 ears of corn and feeding them into this machine. He was soaking wet, sweating afterwards. But he worked his tail off, man. That was good to see, and the community loved it. So thanks, Mayor, and that's all I have.
Well, thank you. And to go along with that, there was American Legion ran a great Memorial Day parade.
That's right, that's right.
And thank you, Trustee Nero, for stepping in and representing the village for me. And again, it was well attended. Trustee Simonovich, Police Public Safety Committee.
Thank you, Mayor. The next Police Public Safety Committee meeting will be on July 11th here at 4:30 p.m. The Westmont Cruising Nights Police Car Nights will be on Thursday, June 20th, which is the third week of the Westmont Cruising Nights. And then just a PSA for me to everyone to have a fire extinguisher in their kitchen. I had to use mine this morning. And so I don't think that we can encourage the public enough to check their fire extinguisher safety.
What did your husband do?
It was the children.
Well, thank you. Trustee, this goes along with Trustee Johanna
I know, it's
Guzzo's
not usually fire, it's not usually my thing, but I had to do it.
Fire Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our next Fire Public Safety Committee meeting is June 13th, 4:30 at Village Hall. Everyone is invited to attend. The Westmont Cruising Nights Fire Truck Night, yay! Fire Truck Night will be Thursday, August 1st. And also a PSA announcement. As the daughter of a retired Westmont fire chief, I understand the importance of fire extinguisher.
In the kitchen.
And that's all I have,
All
Mayor.
right, well,
Thank you.
thank you. We'll move on to items to be removed from the consent agenda. Does anybody have any item they'd like removed?
I'd like to remove the proclamation.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'd ask Manager May to please read the remaining.
Consent agenda this evening begins with the village board minutes. Board to consider approving the minutes of the village board meeting held May 16, 2024. Next is finance ordinance number 3 in the aggregate amount of $1,470,239.69. We have two purchase orders. First is Westmont Special Events Corporation. This is the annual amount, $28,000 was the amount. And the second purchase order is Corin, Maine, $129,795. And this is for water meters or brass goods, related to water meter. It's just a supply number. Those all get recouped when used and, applied to a permit. Those two purchase orders together is $157,795. That brings the total of the purchase orders together with finance ordinance number 3 to $1,628,034.69. And with the removal of the separation of the proclamation, that concludes the consent agenda.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve as read?
Motion to approve, Marker.
Second, Nero.
Motion made second. No questions. Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker,
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo,
Yes.
Trustee Nero,
Yes.
Trustee Brady's absent, Trustee Little is absent, Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We'll move back to the proclamation of National Gun Violence Awareness Day. the board to consider a proclamation declaring Friday, June 7, 2024 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Village of Westmont. And I'd ask Trustee Simonovich to please read that proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas every day more than 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of more than 17,000 gun homicides every year. And whereas, according to the CDC, Illinois has more than 1,500 gun deaths every year, with a rate of nearly 13 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that costs the state over $18 billion each year, of which $625 million is paid by taxpayers. And whereas Illinois has the 35th highest rate of gun deaths in the U.S., and whereas cities across the nation, including the Village of Westmont, are working to end gun violence with evidence-based solutions, and whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens can go hand in hand with keeping guns away from people with dangerous histories, and whereas law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention groups and resources, know their communities best and are most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are best positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see an increase in firearm homicides and non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and an increase in city gun violence. Whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15. And on June 7, 2024, to recognize her birthday, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute to Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence and the loved ones of those victims. And whereas this idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange, choosing this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on the first Friday in June in 2024 to help raise awareness about gun violence, and whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now therefore be it resolved that Ronald J. Gunter as mayor does hereby declare June 7th, 2024 to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Village of Westmont, and encourages all citizens to support their local community's efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives.
Would you like to make the motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second, Guzzo.
Motion been made second. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker,
Yes.
Trustee Brady is absent. Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Little is absent. Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Motion passes, and I know we've got a audience full of ladies and one gentleman, I think. Yep, no, all ladies. That's right, no guys are here, but if you'd all like to come up.
Glenn's got his orange shirt on
Yeah,
and
Glenn.
he's blended in with the.
We'd like to present this and take a picture this evening, so if all the trustees could also join, and anyone else who has orange, Spencer.
Let's go.
And while they're coming up, whereas it's not part of the proclamation or the resolution, we've authorized a week of orange ribbon tying on the parkways as applicable.
This is how I normally do it, which is
And first, does anybody want to say anything after we take this picture? You're welcome to come up here and say it. You don't have to, but if you want to, now's the opportunity.
That's okay. She did a great job.
You're okay.
Come on, Jen. I know I'm super tall, but.
You asked.
Okay, I think I can see you all now. Ready, here we go, 1, 2, and I'm gonna do a couple of those. One more. And I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for what you do.
Everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Very limited.
Yeah, I know, me and you
Who
both.
wants to speak on this cause? Now is the time.
Here we go.
Introduce yourself.
It's Joy speaking of this.
I'm Jennifer Zordani, and I'm with a local group, and we are so appreciative to the village for recognizing the Wear Orange movement. We know that gun violence affects so many families, whether it is homicides, unintentional shootings, or suicide deaths. So to recognize gun violence in all its forms and to recognize the victims, we are just grateful to the community for that work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to new business, B1 development permit for 111 North Cass Avenue. Board to consider ordinance approving a B1 development permit for Delaney Miller LLC, which is Westmont Photography by Delaney, to operate a photography studio at 111 North Cass Avenue. Director Hennerfein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Board. So what's before us tonight, if you remember, any business that wants to locate in our downtown or B1 district must get approval of a B1 development permit from the board. So what's tonight? That is a new photography studio with Delaney Miller. She is here tonight so she can explain her business. It's 111 North Cass. It's kind of a nondescript building just north of the old Toon site. So it's that building with kind of a white grid windows up in front. And she will run a photography studio out of the business. And if you'd like, I can go ahead and invite her up.
Go ahead. Good opportunity.
Hi, everyone. My name is Delaney. As he shared, I'm interested in opening a photography studio called Westmont Photography by Delaney, and I'm the only owner, sole proprietor. I've been doing photography for around 4 years, and I'm really passionate about it. It's appointment only, Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. And for my services, I honestly just love working with all types of people. I work with families, children, pets. I now do weddings, and then I also have a creative modeling background, so I love doing like creative portraits, senior photos, and that's pretty much all, but I'm really excited to be here, and honestly, I see a lot of business coming in from photography because there's just so many uses for it, so.
Do you go outside and take pictures of families and?
Yeah, so I do on location, but now with the studio, I can offer both options.
Okay, good.
You interested in a photo documentary of construction sites like Pocket Parks right next door?
Yeah, I do B2B and B2C, so I've done like product photography, and then also like at locations at restaurants, but I could do construction as well.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second, Barker.
Motion made in second. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Did everybody?
That's it.
Well, motion passes. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to Westmont.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Moving on to new business B, Starbucks, 101 and 107 West Ogden Avenue. Board to consider ordinance approving requests from SBIL 3 Westmont, which is Starbucks Westmont, and WL Property Acquisitions LLC, 101 Ogden, and for 101 West Ogden, and 3D Property Management for 107 West Ogden Avenue for the following. 1, special use permit request by Starbucks Westmont for an audit use adult use cannabis dispensing organization. 2, a special use permit request for a restaurant drive-in by Waken Bakery Incorporated. Site and landscape plan approval, final and preliminary plat of subdivision to consolidate 2 lots into 1 lot. Director Hennerfein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Board. So what's before you is an entitlement case that went before Planning and Zoning on May 8th. So there are 4 items that are before you. So what are those items? It's for 101 and 107 West Ogden Avenue. Most of us know this as the former Boston Market site, which has sat vacant for probably 5 to 7 years now and has been in deteriorating condition ever since it closed. So what's before you? The petitioner is coming forth, and they want to make some changes to this property, introduce a few new uses. It's always a little bit of a negotiation whenever we have an existing property, to try to figure out how best to revamp the property without bringing it up to the strict standards, because it's not a complete redevelopment. So what's being proposed here is, first, they want to take the space, which is now serving one user, it was one restaurant, and split it into two. It's not a 50-50 split, it's more of a 75-25 split. The primary user on this property would be an adult use cannabis dispensing organization. And the zoning ordinance, that is a special use. So we have many special use standards. One of the primary standards is traffic and circulation. I'll be speaking a lot to traffic and circulation. As everyone knows, we already have one cannabis dispensary in town. It's on a much smaller site, it's a very small parking lot. They parked their employees off-site, and I think that historically it's been a little bit crowded in that parking lot. The site is very different. It is over-parked, it has over 50 spaces when only less than 20 are required. So the first is for the special use for the cannabis dispensing. The second is that other user is a bakery. And although they won't be baking any of their products on site, they'll be bringing them in. They will utilize the existing drive-through that was there from Boston Market, pull around the building, pick up your goods at the window. There is a site and landscape approval. So obviously they want to revamp the outside of the building. We always codify the elevations of that building so that they build it to what is shown to us. So there's a increase in stone that they're going to add to the front. They're going to redo a lot of the existing ephes that's on the building as well, new signage, new lighting, reconfigure the parking lot in many different ways, and like I said, I'll get into that a little bit more here in a moment. And then the last piece of this is a consolidation. Boston Market always sat on two lots. As Boston Market, the building was being developed, they thought they would only have one lot, and then they were able to acquire the lot next door, build the parking lot much bigger, but it's always been on two separate lots. Whenever we have a case come before us that's on multiple lots, it's always good to clean it up and get it on one lot. So at Planning and Zoning, it did receive a positive recommendation, 6-0, but it was a conditional approval. There were still many questions on how best to improve traffic and circulation around the building. The Planning and Zoning approval authorized the petitioner to work with staff to do our best to try to improve that. And when I say do our best, there's a traffic statement that was provided from KLOA. It was not a full traffic study. So we are doing our best ability to try to make improvements on this property. So what was done since Planning and Zoning, if anyone watched the meeting? On the south side of the building, so this is the side of the building that faces the auto body to the south. The original plan was trying to squeeze the drive-through lane, a lane to get traffic past, and parking, and it was a very tight maneuver. What they've done is they've eliminated that parking on the south side, so there is enough space to have the drive-through lane and the people driving around the building. So that parking has been eliminated there. On the east side of the building, there's some existing parking spaces that face the TQLA business. They are at 90 degrees. That makes the drive aisle a bit narrow. So they've changed that to 30-degree spaces. When you angle the spaces, the requirements for a drive aisle are reduced. So that means that they kept some spaces and they are able to get traffic around the building. The west side of the drive-through, when you pull in off Ogden Avenue at the west side entrance, when you first pull in, there's a little island that's right there that blocks you from going forward. You either have to go left to get in the drive-through lane, or you have to go right to get into the parking. They're taking out that little piece of island, they're taking out 5 spaces right there, so that when you pull in, you can pull right in. Because as anyone knows at Curaleaf, usually there's a bit of a backup, at least when they first started opening. of people trying to pull in and then backing up onto Ogden. So what we were trying to do was reduce the impact of backups onto Ogden. The Ogden access, so there is one that is right at the corner on the east side. That is being eliminated. That was part of the original proposal. So we are reducing the number of access points on Ogden, specifically the one closest to Grant where the stop sign is, because that makes maneuvers out of Grant very difficult. So that's being removed. The remaining Ogden Avenue access is the one that's over by Taco Grill and Salsa Bar. It's not quite wide enough to support the number of lanes that they want in and out there. They are proposing to widen that, shift it a little bit to the west, and then the radius of those turns when you pull in are pretty tight. They're going to improve those radii so that you can pull in at a much increased speed. And you can also pull out without having to encroach into the second lane of traffic on Ogden. When you improve the radii there, you make those improvements. The grant access, one of the things that Planning and Zoning asked for was what we did at Dooley. So if you've ever seen Dooley, basically when you go to leave the side street, the way that the curbs are angled, it angles it to the north. It provides a sign that says that you can only turn left to go towards Grant, but it's still wide enough to have full movements. It's basically a deterrent for people turning south and going into the residential district on Grant. That was a request of Planning and Zoning that has been accommodated. And then finally, I've talked a lot about circulation, but all those improvements about the parking and getting around the building really create a one-way counterclockwise direction that when you pull into that site and get around the building, you go in one direction around the building. So those are what they have done in working with staff. There is increased landscape along Ogden. They will be re-asphalting the property because if anyone's seen the parking lot, it's pretty deficient. They will be making those improvements to the exterior of the building to make it look better. They'll have new signage. I can answer any questions you may have. There might be a lot. I have the petitioners here as well that can answer any questions.
We bring the petitioners up and
Yes.
make a presentation, and then we'll open it up for any comments. State your name and for the record.
My name is Marwan Atiyah.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. My name is Ahmad.
So, we're representatives of Starbuds, owners of Starbuds. We are a family-owned and family-operated company since 2010. We originated out of Colorado. So primarily, we ask ourselves two questions anytime we look for a place to go into, location-wise. One, can this benefit us? And then two, how can we benefit that particular site or that village? The first question, we always look at traffic, we look at cities, surrounding businesses, and would this be a good fit for our business model, which Westmont and Ogden is. Now, we go back and say, well, how can we, as business partners, benefit the village or cities? And we look at this property, been vacant for 7 years or so. We're gonna beautify it. We're gonna change some aspects of it to make it more appeasing, tax revenue. Just also ease the flow that's we've seen on multiple levels towards the Curaleaf side with a small location through our location. So we feel that it would be a great fit for us to the village and the village to us.
Can you just quickly, hours of operation? I know the state regulates a lot of it, but
Yeah, no, hours operation with the state, it's regulated, but we would propose a 8 to 10 operating 7 days a week. And that's how it is in all our locations throughout the country. Unless there is some guidelines or something in place in specific towns, but that would be our hours of operation.
in the bakery portion, is it going to open right away, or?
Yeah, the bakery portion is identical to the Starbucks, same operational hours for multiple levels, also for security, everything. It just works well hand in hand that they will go from 8 to 10 also.
And I know that one of the questions were, why can't you do medical
Yes. Well, it's unfortunately not up to us. It's state regulated, and right now in the state, there's only 60 licenses in the whole state that are allowed to do medical. But what we do to help with that part is we give the discount of 30%, which is the difference between tax, between medical and recreational, to medical patients. So if there's a medical health card that comes into our dispensary, we don't have the medical side of it, so we have to tax them on the higher end. We'll give them that tax break, which helps out with that end.
Any other questions from the board right now?
The two businesses, is there gonna be a wall and two separate entrances, or are they gonna be together, actually?
They're actually two separate businesses. And to your second question, yes and no. It'll be one entrance, but then inside that entrance, two separate entrances.
Okay, and two doors, I'm assuming then, too.
From this inside of the doors, yes. It's just like two separate businesses, two separate ownerships.
Mayor?
Yes.
So I've looked into this a little bit, and I watched the planning and zoning and everything. Did a little of my own research, and it's all, to me, it's clear as mud, right? So I'm interested in and that's being honest, right? The drinks that are served at your bakery, can you take that drink and drink it, or do you have to take it home and drink it?
On the bakery side, you could consume on premise.
So it's not like, so I'm assuming, right? I don't know, you can't find facts, you find mud on the internet about this stuff. So if you buy a drink and you drink it, it doesn't impair you or alter your mind in any way so that you can safely drive a motor vehicle.
Well, the dosage that's regulated under the federal guidelines is 0.3%,
Right.
which is a minute amount. Everybody, like any other, even like alcohol, everybody reacts differently. But the dosages that we do is so minute that we haven't seen anybody get intoxicated or impaired on site. The higher dosage,
Not to interrupt, but
No.
in planning and zoning, the lady that spoke, right, she said there's a drink, I forget what the name of it was, but it was more potent. Do they sell stuff that is more potent that you shouldn't drive with? I guess that's really my question.
There is some higher potent drinks that are to go, that are not made on site, they're not made to consume on site. But like anything else, we always tell people, and we always try to educate people as much as possible, because a lot of times with cannabis or THC or any of these other substances, that it could be a late effect. It could hit you late, not immediately. So we always tell people it's best to consume at home.
Okay, that's all the questions.
But the product they sell is not in violation of any state law?
No state law or federal law
Okay.
with the bakery part.
All right, I'd like to, does anybody in the audience have, you can go ahead and come on up and state your name, and address, and now's the open forum for this agenda item.
Hi, I'm sorry. Gina Pirelli. Do I have to state my address? Blackhawk. Anyways, I am a little concerned. I don't know. I already live by Curb Leaf. The traffic there. I guess I just don't understand why we need another pot shop. I do worry that you could bring it in the car. There's kids in the neighborhood. I mean, this is supposed to be a family community. I don't know. It's just infuriating, I guess. It does make me nervous. And that traffic on Curb Leaf, because I live right there, I mean, I know that's a smaller parking lot, but it's really bad, that parking lot. And I just infuriates me, and it really scares me with the bakery, because you don't know, you hope people are educated enough and abide by the law, but there are a lot of people that don't abide by the law. And now you've got near a residential neighborhood on a busy street, people drinking drinks, and it's just, I'm not ready for that yet. So I don't know, I know people won't like it, I don't think it's a good idea. I know tax revenue, but there's got to be a better solution for a tax revenue than another pot shop in Westmont.
All right, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second, Simonovich.
Motion been made and seconded to approve. Last chance, no one else? Any board member?
I've got-
Trustee Barker raised his hand before.
Sure.
Plus, he's more important.
No, I'm not. So I just wanted to, say, I think the board is aware of my position. I would just like to encourage people to go to the library, get a good book, pick up a paintbrush and a canvas, do a painting, listen to some good music. They're talking about, food and, the benefits of this. I can get a great buzz from my wife's chocolate chip cookie and a glass of milk. And that's what I'm recommending, a clear mind. I got 83 years approximately, right, if I'm lucky. I get 83 years, and I don't want to miss any of it. So I want a clear mind, and I want to advocate for that. I wish people would do that. We're seeing this trending the other way. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I just wanted to.
Oh, yeah, Manager Mealy.
Go ahead.
I don't mind. No, so it was a comment, and you were talking about medical was the question, and the offering the discount, and I guess I'm not even sure what the, right question is, or comment, or if I know what I'm talking about, but I would think you would have a responsibility to tax the full amount and then apply the discount on the end, so that you're not taxing the discounted price for that medical reason. So I don't know what I'm talking about, but I would just be careful about how you apply the discount.
Spencer, that sounds like Spencer's question.
Yeah.
Trustee Nero.
Yeah, just a couple comments, Mayor. This has been a interesting property, to say the least. It's very uniquely shaped, and there's a lot of restrictions from a development standpoint. So I've been personally involved with a couple of different projects. One that we all really wanted, and it unfortunately didn't work out. And I'm saying this because I think it's a unique opportunity for the village to diversify revenue stream a little bit. And we've had a couple projects where we projected maybe 40, 50,000 in revenue, and there's projections up to 8, 9, 10 times that for the community. And there's nothing else out there that can come close to that, other than maybe a new Oprah Kills or some maybe fine car dealers. And that size of lot really isn't going to allow that. So I think it's just good history to kind of understand that, because we have some big decisions in this community coming up, from maybe raising water rates because of infrastructure costs, and the results of City of Chicago raising the rates significantly. I mean, I just heard rumors that Elmhurst is potentially doubling their water rate. So I would encourage us, should this pass, maybe the board can look at a couple ways to earmark this funds to help the residents in some way, so we don't have to do some of those things maybe that we might be forced to do. So I think this is just a unique way to really get some revenue that the village sorely needs. And I wouldn't even be on, support of this if there's been criminal issues with the one we have. I mean, I thought the village has done a good job by walking and trying the first one. And I know it's in a unique geography, but there hasn't been any issues with the police. And we've asked our police department. So, I mean, we have to trust what we know. We've verified it pretty good. It's already legal. And I've said this with the first one. So for me, I'm all about finding unique ways for the community to get the revenue, and this is one that I think we all need to strongly think about. And I know it's not easy. I agree with a lot of Trustee Parker's comments and suggestions, and he's spot on. I mean, this is just it's a very interesting property, and I think ultimately the residents are going to win with this. Even though if you philosophically don't agree with it, I think we'll all agree with maybe having a unique, maybe innovative way to help offset some of the costs that we're going to go through. So I just wanted to share that, because this property has been pretty, it's needed development for almost a decade, right? And it hasn't been because of a lack of effort or the property owners not trying. It's because of a lot of hurdles that they had to overcome. And this fits the bill on all those things. And man, if you get 400,000 or whatever the number is in potential revenue, there's nothing else like that out there, other than, and you can't fit a hotel on that parcel. So hopefully that background helps a little bit about where I'm thinking. This hasn't been easy. I've talked to quite a few residents, and I think we've all thought about it. We've all put in a lot of time, but it's tough to go against something that I think could help a lot of residents that might need a little assistance in the future.
Trustee Simonovich.
I would echo a lot of what Steve said, but I would also add that it's not just about the revenue stream, which is important and allows us to fund things, that we would like to do without increasing the costs to our residents. But I think it's also about, even if it's not something we particularly would choose to partake in ourselves, about tolerating diverse lifestyles. We're not asking our residents to go shop there any more than we're asking them to go to the local tavern or liquor store. Everybody has their thing. There's certainly a demand for this. I think it's about supporting free market competition as well, and showing, that tolerance for it, regardless of our personal beliefs. So.
Thank you. Trustee Barker.
I just wanted to thank Trustee Nero for his efforts and the idea that maybe this revenue could be used in a way to benefit the residents. I think that's a smart thing, rather than, personally, it would make me feel better about it, right? And I know the revenue problems, but again, I have a different conflict, right? So thank you.
I'd ask for a roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Present.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mayor Gunder.
All right. Mayor Gunder.
Yes.
So the vote required to pass that ordinance is 4 votes. And if someone votes present or abstains from voting, their vote counts with the majority of the votes. So I believe Trustee Barker's vote of president would count with the majority votes of the 3 trustees who voted yes. But the mayor voted yes, just in case someone would have a different interpretation, to guarantee that there were 4 votes in favor of this.
Yeah. Okay, well, welcome. When do you plan on opening?
We're hoping 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months, okay. We'll make sure the gentleman behind you, Mr. Forsberg, will set up a ribbon cutting for you, and welcome.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Join the chamber.
All right. Moving on, new business C, award of RFQ 24001, Stormwater Management Engineering Services. Board to consider ordinance approving the award of RFQ 24001, Stormwater Management Engineering Services to Baxter and Woodman, Clark Dietz, and WBK as approved vendors for future projects and for a 5-year term. Manager May.
Well, this item was kind of a new approach. We have many civil engineering services that we hire out. When we got a project based, a specific project, we'll use certain consultants based on their abilities and expertise and our experience with them for very pointed projects. But we don't have a village engineer on staff, and we've got other village engineering services that we use and diversify. And this is a, Director Reese put this together from her good experiences in another community. And this isn't awarding any project to anybody or any amount, but it sets the terms and the kind of like a pre-qualified short list for somebody that we can go to on short notice and already have the terms of what that would be for more of our things that come up, not necessarily the specific construction project.
But speed up things too.
Speed up things for those purposes. It does not preclude us from using any other engineering service on, for specific projects, and it's just a resource.
I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Guzzo.
Second, Nero.
Motion made second. Any comments? Nobody? Ready? Roll call, please.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich?
Yes.
Motion passes. New business D, engineering agreement, Phase 2 design engineering for residential alley 10 North, reconstruction. We're going to have to put addresses on some of those, huh? Oh, here. It's board to consider an ordinance approving an engineering agreement with Thomas Engineering Group for Phase 2 design engineering for residential alley 10 North, reconstruction. Manager May, it's all yours.
Yeah, and then kind of just backing up to the last item, Thomas Engineering Group is not one of the ones on the list, but we use them for a lot of these engineering projects that we've been doing for the alley reconstruction program. So 10 North is the alley between Park and Hudson and then north, so Naperville Road to Burlington. And this is the design services for, to put together the design and the construction documents for this alley.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Barker.
Second, Nero.
Motion been made in second. Any comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I've asked for a map to be created so that we can, so everybody knows what our numbering system is. It's
Yeah.
a lot to describe each time.
I agree. New business E, award a bid proposal, North Water Tower. Board to consider ordinance awarding the bid proposal from Caldwell Tanks Incorporated for the construction of the North Water Tower project and authorizing a contract consistent with the accepted bid documents contingent upon the receipt of a loan agreement from IEPA. Manager May.
So this project is, the North Water Tower. We had, went out to bid, and the lowest responsible bidder was Caldwell Tanks with a low bid of $5,861,300. This low bid was slightly lower than the engineer's estimate, about 1% lower. The estimate was 5.9 million. We're awarding, you're authorizing us to award this construction contract when it's ready to be awarded. It is a EPA loan that we've applied for, so they're in the review process now and making sure there is no issues with that. And once they're satisfied with the documents, you're just authorizing us to execute the documents at that time. The North Water Tower is at the high school up on Oakwood.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second, Guzzo.
Motion been made in second. Trustee Barker.
Steve, would you know, we expect this to be approved. Would that construction happen this year? And then will it impact, I understand the location of it. Do we expect it to impact, the construction, impact the neighborhood traffic?
I'll say not at all. But there'll always be something. So it is we've been working on this for a few years, so we acquired the property that's, if you can picture it, it's the old tennis courts at the Westmont High School. And that fronts on the north property line, and all of our easements and actually the water main that would service that all come from the north. So we have construction easements and egress easements from the north, and Amy's working on a temporary construction easement to do staging and stuff in that unused parking lot that's up at the, what are they called? The Ryan Building, but, it used to be Rockwell.
Which is zoned OR.
Zoned OR.
Yeah.
Nothing on Oakwood Drive, I guess.
Right.
Should
It
be
all
nothing
comes
on
from
Oakwood
the
Drive,
east.
also, that helps not affect school operations either. So, whereas it's fun to watch, when we get
Nice
this
distraction.
and award it, we're in summer now, but it'll probably be in construction in the fall.
Give them something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Trustee Nero?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. We'll move on to new business F, sale of properties at 423 and 427 North Grant Street. Board to consider ordinance approving the real estate sales contracts for the sale of properties located at 423 and 427 North Grant Street. Manager May.
The village, we previously purchased, all of this together was called 423 North Grant. We've acquired that property. The back of it abuts the library property, and some of the south of it abuts the DuPage County Health Department. We re-subdivided it and created 2 buildable lots that front on Grant Street of standard size with everything else on that block, and we retain ownership of all of the rear yard property that would be on library frontage. That also came with dedication of public right-of-way and all of that too. Anyway, after the subdivision, we marketed the 2 parcels, and together, there's one bidder for both parcels together at a purchase price of $153,000 each, so $306,000, and I think we paid $385,000 for the whole thing when we did that a few years ago.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Simonovich?
Second, Nero.
Motion been made in second. First time we're selling property, you're always buying stuff. So.
Trying to make up for it.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business G, building permit fee amendment. Board to consider ordinance amending Chapter 18, Section 18-487 of the Code of Ordinances to correct the calculation for building permit fees. Director Hennerfein, are you coming up?
I think I'm going to speak on that one, if you don't mind.
No. Attorney Zemanek.
I gave him those notes to
They
call
gave
you,
me
Joe.
notes. I agreed with them.
This ordinance just corrects a ministerial error in that section 18-487 regarding the calculation of building permit application fees for projects with a construction value of $25,000 or more. When the calculation for building permit fees was amended in year 2019, and I drafted the ordinance, I incorrectly put 0.004%, and what I should have put was 0.4% or expressed as a decimal, 0.004. Staff has been interpreting that ordinance the way they intended it to read since 2019, and this actually puts on paper what it's supposed to, how it's supposed to be calculated.
Who found it?
Jason Vitale, the building commissioner.
Do you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Simonovich?
Second, Nero.
Motion made and second. Any additional comments?
I'm just usually
Tough
here for
when
that.
Linda's not.
It's so quiet.
Need Linda.
Where's
Should
Linda
see
when you
Joe's
need
face
her?
when I called him.
We don't have a rhythm.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
Trustee Little is absent.
We need her.
Trustee Brady is absent. Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
And Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business H, municipal code update. Solid waste, Chapter 66, and scavenger, Chapter 22. Board to consider an ordinance amending provisions of Chapter 66, solid waste, and Chapter 22, scavengers of the Westmont Code of Ordinances. Now I'm going to, does the Assistant Manager Parker
Oop, turn this, I don't know whose
Or-
item this is.
or
Sean and Patty, any of us could talk about it.
Attorney Zemanek?
I'll start.
Okay.
Regarding Chapter 22, there's a division that regulates and licenses scavengers, which essentially are waste haulers who collect either garbage or recyclable materials within the village. And since the village has an exclusive contract with a single waste hauler to collect both solid waste and recyclable materials from residential and commercial properties, and since the regulations on scavengers were kind of out of date, we wanted to amend that division on scavengers to highlight that the village has an exclusive contract with a single waste hauler for all materials, that no scavenger licenses would be issued, but in the event in the future that the village doesn't have an exclusive contract for either solid waste and/or recyclable material collection, then it explains what the licensing process is. So that was the first correction. The second one was to Chapter 66, which regulates solid waste collection and includes recyclable collection. That chapter was amended back in March to make sure that it conformed with the language in the new contract with Flood Brothers. And now a question has arisen by at least one business whether they are actually required to use the village's exclusive waste hauler to have their garbage or recyclable materials removed from their property. The answer from the village is yes, you must use the village's exclusive waste hauler. And the reason for that is to prevent businesses from illegally hauling their own garbage or illegally dumping it either on a public property or on someone else's property or in someone else's garbage can, or potentially mixing their commercial waste in with their personal home waste with perhaps some materials that shouldn't be in those containers. And it provides uniformity throughout the village. So this section simply adds what I believe was the intent of the village, that every property, whether residential or commercial, and that would include multifamily, manufacturing, et cetera, has to use the village's exclusive waste hauler at whatever.
One shall have service, and then it has to be the
Yeah.
exclusive hauler.
Right. And if a business, has a small amount of solid waste that they generate, they can opt for the smallest container and the least amount of service that Flood Brothers provides.
Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve, Barker.
Second, Guzzo.
On the question?
Thanks, guys.
Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
And trustee, that's it.
That's it. Motion passes. Before we move on to the last item, and I think I talked today, I saw yesterday a white, big garbage truck, and I couldn't see any emblem on it, so I thought somebody else other than Flood Brothers was collecting it. Then when I saw them
You had to purchase some new equipment.
purchase new equipment for us, but the was a small sign on there that says Flood Brothers, so that's not a separate waste hauler, that's our contract with them. New business I, municipal code updates, chapter 22, garage sales. Board to consider ordinance amending chapter 22, article 9 of the Westmont Code of Ordinances regarding garage sale regulations. And Administrator Karski just gave her a new title.
Yeah.
You did that better this time. Hello, everyone. This is the garage sales that we discussed last 2 weeks ago, or whenever at the Admin Finance Committee meeting, and eliminating the need for permits. So it eliminates a great deal of the wording if you look at the attachments, but it's only the wording that has to do with requiring a permit. It doesn't eliminate the restrictions on how many you can have or where you can post your signs. Any questions?
No? I don't. Do I have a motion to approve the update?
Motion to approve, Nero.
Second, Guzzo.
Motion made in second. Any other comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
And trustee Barker.
Yes.
Motion passes. Miscellaneous. Does anybody have anything they want to add? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Nero.
Second, Barker.
Motion been made and second to adjourn. Roll call, please.
Trustee Nero.
Yes.
Trustee Barker.
Yes.
Trustee Simonovich.
Yes.
And trustee Guzzo.
Yes.
Again, thank you, and this meeting is adjourned.